know when to start. This is the problem. I don't ever know when to start. Last week, it was like they just sat and stared at me for 20 minutes, and you guys were like, "We're on, we're on, we're on." So I think we're on. So hello, welcome to ATB show at the buzzer. It's
You don't
Adam
get the
with you.
notification because I get like a notification like
When
the
to
top
start. This is the problem.
of
No,
the.
no,
No?
it doesn't tell me anything. So now, hopefully, we're on and running.
Yeah, we
And
are.
all right, excellent, excellent. And as I mentioned last week, no theme song. Timmy will be back next week, so we'll have the whole bells and whistles next week, hopefully. Welcome in, everybody. Go to atbshow.com to check us out. You get all the socials there. It's all brought to you by AAA Work Trucks. Rubber Shoes, take it away.
Brought to you by AAA Work Trucks, your one-stop shop for all your work truck needs. If it goes in or on a vehicle, it's a good bet. AAA can take care of it for you. Give them a call at 866-783-6222 or check them out online at aaaworktrucks.com.
We got a real treat this week. We got in our group chat. Rubber Shoes sent was it a video you took or somebody took of you and your setup for AAA Work Trucks? What were you doing?
Yeah, it was at so FW Web does counter days. They have vendors that set up and show different products, and every once in a while we set up there to show our van so that's what I was doing yesterday.
Oh,
I bring
nice.
my speakers out and play some music and show the van off.
It reminded me of our old radio hits when we would go to what was the furniture store we used to go to in Portsmouth?
State Street Discount.
Yeah. Yes. And we would take, the Ford Explorer or whatever the station had, and we'd set up our speakers, and everybody wanted to stop by.
Basically the same thing.
Yeah. Exactly.
All
right.
Little swag.
What do you got for swag? What does AAA Work Trucks have for swag?
We didn't have much yesterday. We just pads of paper, koozies, keychains.
All right.
Usually we have T-shirts, which is usually always a big hit, but we're a little low as of right now, so need to ramp up.
I will say, Billy, the T-shirt you did give us the last time we got together, I think it was at Kowloon, the AAA Work Trucks. That is now a mow the lawn shirt.
Great mow the lawn shirt. Excellent mow the lawn shirt.
It's soft. Absolutely. It's very soft. Very comfortable.
Soft.
It breathes well. So, when you're on the mower and you're weed whacking and stuff, you need something like that. So it's definitely become a staple for me in the mow the lawn shirt category. So
I love that.
I appreciate it.
We'll have to refresh our AAA Work Truck T-shirt stock. Oh, Rubber Shoes has got a timeout to call here.
I think you're not up on the all 4 up or all 3 up.
I do this every time. This is why Timmy runs the show and I don't. Let's see. There we go.
So it's only getting us when we talk.
Right. It's just it was
God,
one
my
after
face
the other.
Full screen. I'm so sorry, everybody.
All right, listen, we've got a lot to talk about. We got a lot to get to tonight. We're going to cover the least surprising quarterback controversy in the history of the NFL in Foxborough, the struggling Red Sox, and we're going to start the show off tonight to talk about the sellout at the TD Garden.
Well, we talked about this pre-production meeting. You're going against pre-production meeting, Adam. Come on, man.
Listen, they have promised me that they will quit the show if I start.
No. I said I'd get in the pool. I was going to jump in the pool.
Okay.
I'll start taking off the shirt, and again,
Let's
something no one wants to see.
No,
I'm confused. By the way, you mentioned it's the least surprising quarterback controversy ever. Why? What is that? What do you mean? I guess I'm not sure.
Well, I mean, I think Mayo from the jump was talking about how Brissett was his guy, right? I mean, for a little while at the beginning, and now there's some question about whether that's going to be true or not at the start of the season.
Yeah, he came out and said yesterday. They asked him yesterday, and he still has not tapped a quarterback, which a lot of other teams have. Washington, for example, just tapped McDaniels to be, or Jaden Daniels, not McDaniels, Jaden Daniels to be the starting quarterback for Washington. So, right. I mean, you'd expect to see it pretty soon. Minnesota was already, had tapped Sam Darnold, for example, instead of JJ McCarthy. So think about how many quarterbacks went in the first round in the NFL draft, so there's a lot of rookies out there. Obviously, Caleb Williams is going to start. That's a no-brainer. The Jaden Daniels thing, you figured he would. And then, but with Drake May, So he's obviously, the third overall pick, but everything that everyone talked about was the fact that Jacoby was going to start at least the
Right.
beginning of the season. And now I think May outplayed him. I mean, a lot of people were saying significantly better than Jacoby on Thursday night against Philadelphia. I wouldn't say it was significantly better. Did he play better? Absolutely. He absolutely outplayed him.
Yeah.
He looked good, 6 for 11, you know what I mean? Just under 100 yards, and obviously had the rushing touchdown. But he looked fine. He didn't look like he was panicked at all. But it's always tough because you're playing against second stringers,
Right.
where Jacoby was playing the first. But
and that's the thing too. It's always like, do you put any stock in the preseason? I personally, I don't put a ton of stock in the preseason, even if he was going against their first string, right? I mean, a lot of these guys are playing not to get hurt, right? And they're, not playing as hard as they would be on week 1 or week 10. So I almost wonder if you put a ton of stock in it, but it's the reason I said it's the least surprising, or did I say the least surprising or the most surprising? I guess I meant the most surprising.
okay.
That's what I meant. That's why you were confused. I meant most surprising. Because, I think the, wisdom around the Foxborough was Brissett was going to be the guy. And, maybe they ease into Drake May mid-season, depending on how the start of the season goes. But now we're not sure. Now, to me, I think you got to see the next. I don't know. I think you have to see the next preseason game, and they have one more after that, right? So they have 2 more.
No, just one. There's only
just
3
one more.
now.
Oh, just 3. Oh, geez. But I think you have to see what happens next, and then go from there. I still think Brissett is your best bet to start the season, even though I thought Drake May had a good run against the Eagles. I just don't know if he's got it in him to go against the first string yet. But I'd be happy to be proven wrong. I just don't know if I see it. What about you, Rubber Shoes?
I would like him to sit just to learn a little more. He's a better athletic quarterback than Brissett just on raw skills, so he's gonna look better than him out there. And I think that's what everyone saw. But I was watching Bedard from I forget what's the Sports Journal today, and he's like they put in place for him that he played in college to make him feel comfortable out there. So that's also why he looked better, because they put it. So he still hasn't learned the West Coast offense yet to be able to go out there and just play boom, boom, boom. So I think I really hope they at least wait maybe 4 weeks before they start him, and just let him get a little more learning of especially the plays, because you don't want to go out there and only have, a very slim amount of plays that you can run with him, and then the other team's just teeing off where it's like, okay, you have like it becomes predictable, and when you're predictable in the NFL, you're gonna get teed off on.
You're going to die. Yeah, and I agree, and I think the other part is too, the West Coast offense is extraordinarily difficult to learn, the language especially. The formations and stuff are obviously difficult, and what people are doing on each play, but the language, it's super long. If you ever listen to like a John Gruden or someone behind the scenes, it's 30-word 30-word diatribe just for a play call. It's pretty crazy. So it's going to take him time. It takes any quarterback that's new to the West Coast offense a lot of time to learn that. So I agree. I don't think you start him. Plus, you don't want any confidence issues or anything like that. Which I was thinking about this the other day. It's funny. People talk about that a lot. Nobody talked about that when Peyton Manning was leading the league in interceptions his first year, or when Bledsoe was getting knocked around or whatever, or Troy Aikman had more sacks than anybody else. You know what I mean? These guys worked out. Now, obviously, there's the cautionary tales like a David Carr or somebody like that who got his butt kicked and didn't really pan out and things like that too. So, but it's a tough situation for Mayo, especially for a first year coach to be in. But I think it's, I guess where I'm surprised by it is that he's just not sticking to his guns and saying that, Jacoby's the guy. But to your point, Adam, maybe he's just waiting for that final preseason game, which is legitimately the final preseason game in the NFL. For whatever reason, the Patriots are playing the Commanders Sunday night at 8:00. It's the last preseason game on the schedule. What are we doing?
I don't feel like the preseason was this all over the place than it is this year. Like there's like
mess.
Games like every hour. It seems like there's like noon and 1 and 2. Like how are they supposed to get their bodies used to playing at a certain time and their regular practice during the week and everything? It's like they have no way. They're like everything is thrown off at this point.
Well, the preseason
more. Good.
I was just going to say, I think the preseason is become a bit of a joke. I mean, let's be honest about it, right? I mean, definitely. I think the training camps are a joke, and the preseason, all the collective bargaining that they did to get that the players were concerned about their health, rightfully so. But you hear guys who played in the league now, they're talking about how sloppy the play is, especially in the first few weeks, because they just don't have the same amount of time and practice that they have in the preseason, and then the games are just one series, and then the guys are out, and then you got the second stringers going. Like they just don't play as much in the preseason. I just think it's messy.
Like the first 4 games of the season of just an extended preseason now,
right,
where they're still trying to figure stuff out because they don't know for sure, especially a team like the Patriots have right now. There's so many questions on the offensive side.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I think what really changed the preseason, especially in that regard, is there's no more like cut down days. There's one, and that's it. At the end of the preseason, you need to cut your team down to a 53-man roster. But before that, it was you had multiple cut downs. Where you had to trim your roster by like 6, and then trim it by 5 more, and then you have to finish it up by the end or whatever it is. So I feel like there's no, like, to your point, Adam. They've made it a joke because they've taken the urgency out of it. Right. They've taken that, like, hey, I need to be here to win a job, for a lot of these guys. And it's until like the last preseason game, perhaps. And I will say, I think this preseason has been a little more interesting to watch because there are a lot of young rookies or young quarterbacks that are still playing out there too. So I felt like I saw a lot of starters in week 2. This past week. I don't think you'll see as many this coming weekend because it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So you get football all 4 days, which is it's weird. And then to start the season, the first game is on Thursday, which is normal, but then they have another game Friday, which is because it's in Brazil.
They're just trying to own every day of the week. The NFL is at this point. Yeah. I mean, honestly, it's like just a money grab. It's ridiculous. I want to go back to your point about confidence real quick because I think that I hear this all the time, and certainly we just experienced this with Mac Jones, right? Mac Jones came in and had a great first season, and then he just stumbled and fell and just got destroyed. His confidence level now. Maybe he makes a comeback this year. I don't know. I'm not saying he isn't, but his confidence was just shot when he left the Patriots. And I think one of the things that's happened is, and not to be old guy waving his cane at the sky, but is social media has made it so that these guys hear every single criticism of them. So like Peyton Manning comes in and he leads the league in interceptions. He's not going through on his phone, flipping through every criticism that's ever been levied against him. He goes home, he realizes he threw interceptions, but he's like, you know what? I've thrown interceptions before. I'm good. We're going to get this figured out. It's not as the echo chamber for these guys was not as huge and loud as it is now. And so I do think you run the risk. These younger guys who are on social media all the time, you throw Drake May in and he has 3-4 games in a row that are horrible. And he's just reading nonstop Boston sports mess about how terrible he is. And when are we going to start Jacoby Brissett? Where's Bailey Zappi? And he starts to get into his own head. And so I think personally, that's kind of one of the reasons you don't see a lot of this development of quarterbacks coming out of college anymore, because these guys go in, they just get destroyed, and then their confidence gets destroyed because they're reading all the time about how bad they are. And so if I was the owner, and this is like what I used to love about Belichick, is he didn't let them on social media, or he strongly discouraged them from being on social media. Probably the reason that he's not a coach anymore. One of the reasons he's not a coach anymore. But I do think it has a lot to do with that, because, before you had, you'd go to your press conference and you'd answer a few questions about it, but then you went home and you didn't hear about it. Now it's like everywhere you turn, the criticism is coming. So I'll be interested to see what happens with some of these younger guys that came out this year that are going to be starting, and see if any of them suffer from that, lack of confidence. Because to me, it's a real concern. These guys don't have. It's the same way in the NBA, by the way. I mean, the NBA guys, if they don't produce in their first 2 years in the NBA, these guys are labeled as, busts, and they're never going to be anything. Whereas opposed to, you got to give a guy, especially in the NBA, but they're coming out 19, 20 years old. Like, you got to give them 2 or 3 years to figure it out. I mean, it's a different league. It's a different thing altogether. So it concerns me especially when it comes to quarterbacks, because they have the ball in their hands so much. So it remains to be seen. So are both of you guys on oh, go ahead, Rubber Shoes.
I think it's the generation that's growing up with everyone gets a trophy. That's what it is. I think they're used to being handed everything, especially if in high school they're the elite guy and they're like everyone's kissing their ass, and then all the way through college, and then they've never had anyone tell them that they suck, and then all of a sudden now they're being told they suck and they've never heard it before. I think that might be some of it.
Yeah, and I think too that it's not just social media. I think it's also like it's just the media storm.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like every asshole has a podcast. And then, on top of that, it's
careful.
On top of that, it's there's 24/7, 365 cycles of sports. You know what I mean? Where before it was like, maybe ESPN, right? You could have that. Now it's the NFL Network. Now it's this, it's that, it's everything. So it is everywhere. It is everywhere. To your point.
Yeah.
I don't think Billy's too far off in regards to his point either. I do think that when it comes to people saying, well, you have to be careful of their confidence and stuff like that, it really wasn't talked about that much, but it was a different time back then. And it was like, and that's why, and you kind of even piggyback without even realizing it, Adam, is that, you said that's why Belichick's not a coach anymore, because he coached hard, and everyone's talked about that. You have to be really mentally strong and, have a thick skin when you go into that program. And over the last couple of years, you could see as the second old regime, right? You had the old regime with like the Brewskis, the Vrabels, and whatever. Then you had the second one come in with the Gronk and the Edelman, and the, obviously Brady was for all of it. But then once that kind of left, you still had Dev and Slate, but not that many more left. So I think it was hard for him to kind of reach some of these kids too. So it's it'll be fun to watch this season in regards to how Mayo handles that, only because I know we talked about this a little bit on the chat. I'm rooting for the guy. I definitely am, and I'm hoping he's the guy. But I'd like to see how he handles this and moving forward for sure. Because it wasn't obviously, but good.
Mayo is one of those guys, right? He's one of the old guard, right? He's
second regime guard,
second regime, right? He's in that mold of Dev and Slate and all these guys who came in and took the baton sort of. And I don't think he ever won with us. Did he ever win with us? No.
He did when he was on the bench because he was hurt.
Oh, okay. All right. So it kind of counts. But he's kind of in that mold and this is like, it's a weird transition now, because we, the Patriots were so good for so long, and now all of a sudden the generational shift has happened, and we don't have anybody in that locker room, it doesn't feel like, that's going to be able to bridge that gap. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. I just want to say one more thing though on this thing about like the trophy generation though, because you hear this all the time, and Rubber Shoes, you're 100% right. I mean, everybody gets a trophy for everything. But guy like Peyton Manning, he's coming up, right? And he's being told he's the greatest his whole time. Anybody that makes the NFL, they're the best in their high school. They're the best in college. You know, those guys, they've already been hearing it their whole lives. So it's no different now than it was before.
Kid, as a child, when they're playing recreation leagues and stuff, they're not all be like, oh, you're all winners. You know, they're back when I played. Actually, we had a mother that what was like the start of this. She wanted to get the whole team trophies for completing the season, and all the kids on the team were like, "What?" I was like, "You're crazy!" I was like, "What? I don't want a trophy that says I played in this." And that was like the beginning of it back. So that's probably mid '80s that it was. Some of the parents were starting to try to do that stuff, but then you had like I know when my son played, it was like he didn't play much because he had some issues when he was younger. So he tried sports, and then but every sport he tried at the end, so I was a coach of t-ball, and we had to give a game ball out every game, and we had to make sure that everyone got a ball throughout the whole season.
By the end of the season, right?
Yes, everyone had to get a game ball at the.
Yep.
I was like, okay, yep. And it was like the rules of the league.
Right. And here's the kid playing in the dirt, and you're like, okay, how am I going to get this kid a ball? Like, I mean,
me and the other coach are like, okay, we got to make sure we keep track of who we gave it to. If we skip anyone, we're going to get in trouble.
Yeah, that's so true. My girls played softball for a little while, and they had that same rule. And it's so funny because it is hard to remember who you gave it to. And then it's also like, okay, you usually have, especially with youth sports, you usually have 2 or 3 kids who are really good, can, knock the hell out of the ball, pitch the ball well. And, the other kids are like, yeah, okay, you ran to first base on a walk. Yeah. Good job. You get the game ball today.
Spinnings, doing circles in the outfield. And
That's right. That's right. It's an interesting, I don't think that'll ever change, unfortunately, because I think what happens is parents go through it and they think, oh, this is ridiculous. I can't believe I'm participating in it. And by the time they even think about trying to change it, their kids are done with the sport. So it's kind of, they're moving on. But yeah, I think it impacts all the way up through college and the pros for sure. What are we thinking about the rest of, obviously we talked about the quarterbacks. What are we thinking about how we looked against Philly? And actually the other thing I wanted to bring up was the last time we spoke was like 5 hours, conveniently enough, before Judon got traded. So what are we thinking on those 2 fronts? How we played against Philly and then the Judon trade? Scotty.
The first question, I mean, they played okay. I mean, their offensive line still needs a lot more work. More work. I didn't think it looked as bad as it did in the first preseason game. To be honest with you, I thought, even with like the third stringers in the first preseason game, offensive line looked better than the first. So I think there's a lot of room for improvement there. I will say I liked, what I saw out of Antonio Gibson looks good. And, for running back and having him be able to spell Ramondre, I think, I think they're going to fit.
I missed what you were saying. I thought you meant spelling his name, and I'm like, what the hell are you talking
about? Give him a rest.
Give him a rest.
I got you. Sorry.
That's okay. And then defensively, I think they look strong. I did love the fact, I don't know if you saw this or not, that Steve Burton was interviewing Ramondre Stevenson on the sideline.
Oh, yeah.
And was asking him about the guy that left. And how things are going to go and whatnot. And Mondre replied and said, yeah, Bill's not here. We're really going to miss Bill. And, he was such a great coach and he helped me so much. And Burton's like, I wasn't talking about Bill. I was talking about Judon. And Mondre said, oh, yeah. Sorry. It was the most awkward and amazing interview.
I have to go look that up. I didn't see it.
It was awesome. They also interviewed Dietrich Wise. Nobody should do that, by the way. He was all over the map. I don't know if he got knocked silly a little bit, or if that's just how it is. I don't know. He was. It was hard to follow him. It was great though. The Judon trade, I expressed myself, I think, pretty well in the chat. Was not a big fan of it. I feel like they could have gotten a little bit more for him. even with my blood pressure coming down and trying to think reasonably, I still think they could have gotten more. But I also understand that they needed to make that change sooner rather than later, and they basically had two teams, and it was the exact same trade on the table.
Yeah.
I haven't heard of other offers. I only know it was Chicago and Atlanta, and they gave those options to Judon, and he picked Atlanta. Which is funny because then another Justin Simmons just signed with Atlanta as well, the safety that used to play for Denver for a 1-year deal. So,
Atlanta,
so
I think Atlanta's going to be pretty good.
Atlanta's going to be tough. Absolutely, yeah, they're going to be tough. They brought in a lot of people.
I saw a meme on one of the social medias, and they're saying because Penix was playing good that they should trade Kirk Cousins to the Vikings, and they show a picture with him with his Vikings uniform, and like, look how good AI is. They have him already in his Vikings, and look, they have his teammates in Viking uniforms also. I was dying laughing. Like that.
Oh my
Pretty
clever.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I understand why they made the trade. I'm not a huge, like I said, I'm not a huge fan of it. I will say this gives opportunity though. We're going to see what they're going to get out of Uche.
Yeah.
Obviously that's, it's kind of his role at this point, and Anthony Jennings, which I'm hoping makes the cut. Because I like him a lot, and they both kind of played that position that Judon played, that outside backer on the left side. So it'll be a good opportunity for a lot of young players to step in and see if they can. You'll see probably maybe you'll have. I know Mapu's been playing like different, like a safety and kind of tweener position as well. Maybe he'll slide into that a little bit as well, or maybe Tavai. Or you could see, I'm going to pronounce this wrong, Taki. I think that's how it is. I think it's
That's pretty good, actually. I think that's good. Yeah.
Yeah. He looks, obviously he was an addition over the offseason. So they have lots of backers. So we'll see who they keep around and who's going to fill that role. But it's going to be a tough role to fill for sure.
Rubber Shoes, what did you think on last week and then the Judon trade?
So the first game, I shut it off when Zappy came in. So I didn't even watch the first half. The second game, I stayed up till the very end to see. Only, actually, it was for one reason why I was staying to the end of that game is because Little Shoes made a bet on that game, and he picked
on a preseason game. Oh my god!
Yeah, which I told him. I said that's the dumbest thing to do because you have no idea what's going to happen in a preseason game.
That's right.
So the Eagles were up by a point, and the Patriots were driving down the end, and then so I was staying up till then to see if he won his bet, and then they had the missed snap, and Philly recovered, and he won his bet.
Nice. Well, I'm happy that he won his bet. I hope he was able to take you out for a steak because you were so supportive of his betting. What do you think of the Judon trade? Anything?
Hold on, we got a call.
Can you hear me or can you hear that?
I can hear both, but
can you hear my dog?
No.
Oh, that's good.
I'm indifferent, I guess. I like the player. I wish, but on this team, I don't think we need him because we're not going to be playing for postseason most likely. So I don't figure get something while you can get. They didn't want to extend him because they don't see him as part of the future of this team, and they're a couple years away probably. So for them to actually get something for him, I think was a good thing. I mean, we got
nothing for him. We got something for him. I didn't even notice that we got something for him. Yeah, no, I know. I'm just joking.
So another jersey jinx. Tyler has his jersey, so that's another player gone.
Nathan has a jersey, and he has an enormous fat head, fat head in his room that I'm gonna have to carefully peel off his wall. Yeah,
that does suck because I remember you texted the group about the fat head. I think you did mention the fat head and also the jersey. It sucks for kids, man. That's the one thing that really sucks for. I mean, yeah, we're all fans and we really root for these guys, but they come and they go. Like, it's funny because, who, I forget who it was. When the Celtics traded Marcus Smart, my girls had just gotten into the Celtics, and they were just beside themselves, and they had never experienced that type of trade before. And, they didn't own a jersey, but they were just so sad and like pissed about it. And, these kids, they get really into these players, and you almost can't do it anymore. Unless it's like a franchise player, you can probably have a safe bet with, I don't know, Drake May, maybe, but who knows? It's not even really a safe bet. So it kind of sucks. But I think you're right that we didn't need him. Go ahead, Rubber Shoes.
So that's like, as a kid, so I'm what, 10, 15 years older than both of you or more. So me as a kid, free agency was just kind of starting in all sports. So you didn't see a lot of movement. All my childhood players pretty much stayed with the team the whole year. I mean, their whole career. From when I started rooting for them till when they retired. So that
you were the one that was a free agent when you were a kid.
Yeah,
jumping from,
well, not
from team to team.
So another thing. So I watched baseball exclusively as a kid until probably the mid. So all through the 70s, it was baseball. I had actually, so back in the day, they only had, you went to the store, they didn't have fan gear like they do now.
Yeah.
We would go to Sears, and basically you had two choices. You could pick Pittsburgh Steelers gear or Dallas Cowboys gear. That was it.
Yeah.
So it's like, I have pictures as a kid, sometimes with Steelers stuff on, sometimes with Cowboys stuff on. And it was like Red Sox was it. And I probably watched some football, not much, but definitely and they didn't have games on like they do now.
Yeah.
Like you can watch every single game of every team now if you want to pay for it. We didn't have every Red Sox game on. We didn't have, the NBA was pre-recorded.
Right.
You would love that, Adam. It would be right down in your wheelhouse. What you do now.
True. It's true.
I mean, there wasn't a lot of live sports on when I was a kid. So it's like we were outside playing our own sports, And
right.
So now it's totally different. And it's like my son's more of a fan of the local teams, like growing up, than I was, because most of the teams sucked when I was growing up, except for the Celtics, which we've been over that many times.
Amazing, but too white for you. I think is what you said.
Actually, probably in the 70s they were probably right in my wheelhouse, but I didn't really, like I said, they weren't on the way they are now.
Yeah.
Even in the 80s they weren't on as much, and the Patriots were always blacked out.
I remember always listening to the Patriots on the radio because they were blacked out.
Yeah.
Because you could never watch the games because they were always blacked out because they didn't sell enough tickets. And then Brady came along and every game was on national TV. So
now I think even if you don't sell out, you're still, because actually last year the Patriots, I don't think, sold out every game. So, but
they don't have that rule anymore.
Yeah, I think they got rid of that rule.
Well, I think it's been as successful as a preseason can be for the Patriots, wouldn't you say? And I think that you look at, for me anyways, I look at the lowest expectations possible for this team, and most likely they're going to exceed that, I would think, over the course of 17 games. So we won't make our predictions today. I think did you just flip me off?
No, I did the cross.
Okay, I thought you were flipping
with his middle finger.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I thought.
Well, I did two. I can only see the one, but
I was like, man, I'm trying to be optimistic here, Scotty. Damn. We'll make our predictions next week. Before we get off of the NFL, though, I want to talk briefly because I put this question out to you guys in the group chat and got some snarky responses, but I'm actually curious what you guys think. So Mac Jones had a halfway decent preseason game, made a couple of throws, definitely looked better than he looked last year. So I'm putting this out to you. Does he win a Super Bowl before Drake May, or will Drake May win a Super Bowl before Mac Jones?
I say neither of them wins a Super Bowl.
Ever?
Ever.
Wow.
Maybe as like Mac Jones isn't going to be a starter, so
yeah, no, he
he
won't.
may
But
get one as a bench player, maybe. But yeah, I'm
okay.
saying 0-0.
0-0. Okay, Scotty, what do you think?
I mean, the Patriots fan in me says May, and I wouldn't say that Mac won't ever be a starter again. I could see a team like you look around, like Zach
Oh, if
Wilson found another
Lawrence
position.
gets hurt, then he'll be a
Well,
starter.
no, I meant like even if like to Adam's point, he's had an amazing preseason. He's looked like rookie Mac Jones, right? He has because everyone like when Mac was a rookie, he looked great. He took us to the friggin' playoffs for God's sake.
Right.
You know what I mean? So,
Right.
but I mean, I don't know if I'd say that he will never start again, but for me, yeah, to answer the question directly, I want to say Drake May,
Okay.
God willing, like 4 years from now.
Okay. All right. Hey,
Maybe 5.
If we get it turned around in 4 years, I'm going to be the happiest Patriots fan on the planet. So I hopefully that happens. I'm with you too, by the way, Scotty. I think Drake May gets it before, and I actually do think Drake May will win a Super Bowl with us. I hope so, but I don't know for sure. But I don't think I don't think Mac Jones ever will.
If you want season tickets, you're gonna have to have them suck a little more than a couple of years.
That's probably true.
I don't. You know what though? I'd rather them win than me have the season tickets. You know,
that's good. Yeah, that's a good point.
All
right, let's move on to another amazing sports team that we have here in Boston. 4-6 in their last 10. Middling around in the middle of the standings. Of course, I'm talking about the fantastic Boston Red Sox. Rubber shoes. Are we back to Dodgers gear yet, or what? Or are we still wearing Red Sox gear at this point?
I never. Well, I do have a Dodgers hat. What?
I thought you on the show you wore a Dodgers thing, didn't you?
I have a Dodgers hat, but that's to go with the Brooklyn Dodgers.
Got it. Okay.
So, yeah, I still do want to get a Ohtani something shirt or something, but it's hard to. I go to bed real early. It's hard to follow West Coast teams.
Yeah, but my point is that because I think at the start of the season when you were very down on the Red Sox,
I think is what he's asking. Have they ruined your summer yet?
Have they ruined your summer?
The Red Sox, and it's like I only have probably 2 more weekends out by the pool, so I think they made it through.
Okay.
They're falling apart at the worst time because they have a very hard schedule right now. As their 4-6 record shows, and then the next couple of weeks they have tough teams, and then so they're 4.5 out of the wild card spot right now, and they have 2 more with Houston. I think they play the Yankees again. It's not looking good.
They play Arizona. They do play Minnesota, who's in front of them.
Yeah.
That's not till like mid to late September. But yeah, they play Toronto, they play Tampa, so they have some winnable series.
Yeah,
but to your point, they also play Baltimore, and they play New York and Arizona, and there's another like top tier team. I mean, they have like I said, they play the Mets. Mets aren't great. They play Chicago, the White Sox. They're terrible. They could win that one.
So I think
we're really grasping at straws here.
After this weekend, splitting with Baltimore, which they had a chance to win 3 out of the 4.
Yep.
But to split with them was good. Last night sucked.
Yeah.
They should have won that game last night.
Yeah,
Houston's missing 2 of their big bats too, so it's not even like you're playing the real Houston team, full team. But you can't blow games like that if you want to try and stay in it.
I mean, I almost texted you last night. I almost texted the group. Do you ever feel comfortable with Jansen? I've never felt comfortable with him.
Nope.
Even the entire time he's been here, his entire tenure, I've just given the ball, whether it's the 8th or the 9th, and I'm just like, I tell
you, it seems like more times than not, like he'll come in and get the first guy out.
Yep.
A lot of times he'll get the first 2 outs, and then he just loses it.
He loses control. He'll walk. Yeah. He's good for at least 1 or 2 walks every outing. Yeah. It drives me nuts. I'm like, why are you so, like you were attacking the other guys? Attack the hitters like attack this hitter like you did the first two, and he just doesn't do it for whatever reason. It's just, yeah.
And I think like their pitching is spent, and they got Paxton to try to help them out with
They get hurt
innings, and then he gets hurt, and now they signed Rich Hill, who's 44, so he might be able to give them some innings. They're it's not looking promising. I just hope they stay close enough to get me through to football season. When football season starts.
I was gonna say we're in football season. We're pretty close.
Well,
you're only like a week away. You're good.
And I know neither of you probably care, but I am going to the Notre Dame versus Navy game at MetLife Stadium in October.
Nice.
So I'm a Notre Dame fan, and I was in the Navy, so it's kind of a two-for my brother's going also, so he was in the Navy also. So. No, it's. Actually, do you know what? Navy always is a pain in the ass because of the way because they're like the only team, them and Army, that play the certain type of offense, and nobody knows how to stop it because they don't try to practice against it until they play them. So they have a tough time, but Navy has a hard time putting up points. So it should be an easy game, but I won't count my chickens before they hatch.
Wait, where is the game? It's
in New Jersey. Yeah.
New Jersey. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, stadium with the
nice.
Mets. Yeah.
All right.
So the last time I was in that stadium was the game New England versus the Giants when they were 16-0.
Oh, wow.
You were at that game?
That's crazy.
Oh, good for you. No shit. That's awesome, man.
You must have been doubly pissed when they blew it in the Super Bowl.
We don't talk about that day, Adam. We don't bring that day up. We don't bring that day up.
Watching that game, like being there watching that game.
Rubber Shoes was rooting for the Giants, so it doesn't really matter.
No, it was. I actually, nothing ever happened of it, thank God. But I got into it with some Giants fans.
Oh, jeez.
So the play when Randy Moss dropped the ball.
Yeah.
Before he got number 23.
Giants fans all over me. Oh, that sucks for you, buddy. I'm like, all right. And then the next play, Randy Moss touchdown. I turned around and yelled at the whole row.
No.
I'm like, that sucks for you. And I'm like, oh shit, they're all behind me too. That's stupid.
Rubber Shoes.
Like, I'm not even gonna see it coming.
Who were you with at this point?
So my brother-in-law at the time lived in did he move back? So he used to live in New York, and he had two friends that moved down there from Massachusetts, moved down to New York, and they were working down there all together. I think my brother-in-law had moved back, but one of his friends still was there, and he had season tickets to the Giants. So we went down there, and it was a good time. Like my brother-in-law's friend owned a condo that overlooked the Hudson River, looking at downtown New York.
Oh wow,
it's pretty sweet.
That's nice.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, so we went there pre-game there, and
that's amazing.
Yeah, it was a good trip, and they won, and yeah.
And the rest is history, unfortunately, not for the better.
So close.
We're not doing this. What are we doing? Can we go back to the fucking Red Sox? What are we? Don't bring it up. Don't bring up 07.
Oh, so yeah. Speaking of
Rubber Shoes wants to remanis about when he was.
No, we can reminisce about other seasons.
So Marcelo Mayer was brought up to Worcester, and now today he was put on the IL.
Oh boy,
that sucks.
Rubber Shoes.
I don't even think he played a game for him.
You've been to how many Red Sox games this season? 3? Do I have that right?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. You've paid for 0 of them, correct?
I've paid $0 for tickets and $0 for food, $0 for drinks.
You can hear the pride. You can hear the pride.
It's amazing.
I supported the parking lot attendant, and I supported local restaurants.
I love that. And God bless you for getting down to 3 games that you didn't have to pay a dime for. That's amazing. Yeah. That's the best part of the whole thing. So I'm impressed. and glad that they didn't ruin your summer. At least you at least got
Although
a
I'm pretty sure they lost all 3 games I went to.
Well,
I mean, they're horrible at home for some reason, so it doesn't.
Yeah,
they're just terrible at home. So not shocked by that.
This reminded me. Well, anyways, are we done on the Red Sox? Are we good with the Red Sox?
Sure. What do you got?
I'm never good.
Not in real life.
I have 2 more things. One is the rumor that Bezos is a bidder for the Celtics. So we didn't talk about that much. I would like to share. I don't want to take Timmy's thunder on this, but I think it's hysterical. And he has said that if Bezos buys the team, that the TD Garden will be nicknamed the Package, which I think is absolutely hysterical. So that's the only reason I'm rooting for it. Other than that, I would be mortified if Jeff Bezos was the owner of the Celtics. How are you guys feeling about this?
I don't want to hear the rumors. Just tell me when it's done. It's like this is gonna go on for at least another year. That we're gonna hear rumors of people that are interested in it, and because I don't think they officially are looking to close the deal till 2028. I think.
Oh, is that right? That long?
Yeah, I think that's what I had heard Wick say over earlier this summer, that it's going to be a slow process.
So the names so far, and Scotty, I'll let you weigh in a second. The names so far is we have Jeff Bezos, the guy who owns Wynn, whatever his first name is. I don't know his first name. Pags certainly is a bidder, I think, hopefully. And some people had thrown around John Henry. God help us if that happens. So, like you said, Rubber Shoes, it's all rumor at this point.
I might have to not be a Celtics fan if Fenway Sports Group owns it.
Yeah. At a minimum, you'd have to go to the games and not spend a dime at the games, right?
Because LeBron would be part owner.
Scotty, what do you think ownership wise? Are you in the camp of tell me when it's done?
Yeah, I mean, like a month ago, I think I said that. Like, I don't care until it's done. You know what I mean? Let me know when it's done. The rumors and stuff like that. I've heard LeBron's name thrown in there, just him, and stuff.
LeBron hates the Celtics, though. Do you think? I know he wants to own a team, but do you think he really wants to buy the Celtics? I don't think.
The thing is, though, I don't know. I don't. Again, I don't care. I don't want to. I'm not looking to spend the energy on that. The only thing, from an NBA perspective, I will put some energy towards is Anthony Edwards. I don't know if you guys heard about his quote recently that just came out today. So Edwards basically threw some massive shade and said that the players that were played ball back in the 80s, 90s, they had no talent. They didn't have talent like the people have today.
What?
I'll use the area. I didn't watch it back in the day, so I can't speak on it. They say it was tougher back then than it is now, but I don't think anybody had skill back then. Jordan was the only one that really had skill. You know what I mean? So that's why when they saw Kobe, they were like, oh my God. But now everybody has skill.
Oh my God is right. Wow. I can't believe he said that. That's a borderline on the JJ Redick comment about plumbers and firefighters or whatever he said. That's crazy.
It is. It's awful. It's awful. That might be one of the worst takes from.
He's
just saying a lot.
Slowly becoming
an asshole.
Second least favorite player in the NBA.
Second least to LeBron.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's
the more he opens his mouth, the bigger idiot he comes across as.
Yeah, and Isaiah Thomas, the only person I've seen so far, I'm sure others have replied since, but he replied back to the quote and was just like, propaganda works, so be careful what you choose to believe. Basically just, saying dude, what the hell are you doing? Shut the hell up. You're an idiot. Yeah. And if you also, the best part of the whole quote, and the thing is I don't know if everybody will actually put this context into it, was the very beginning. I didn't watch it back then.
Right.
Then shut the fuck up. You have nothing to say then of intelligence on this subject.
Right.
Move along. Move along. If you didn't watch it back then there's nothing. You have nothing to say. Don't.
I mean, let's be honest. He's 20 something, right? 21 years old. He wasn't even alive.
23 now.
Well, unless he did.
24.
I mean, he's saying he didn't watch it. So, like, Little Shoes has watched wrestling from like WrestleMania 1
on like YouTube
so
or whatever. Yeah,
he could speak about the old wrestlers, but it's like if you've never watched it, how can you even
that's nuts.
talk about it?
It's weird because for some random reason I came across the gold medal game for the 92 Olympics for the Dream Team, and just watch that game alone. Now I know those are the best players from that era, but like those guys were unbelievable. Ewing, I had forgotten all of this, but Patrick Ewing had a monster first. You know, he was in the first 10 minutes. I think they did halves back then for some reason. I think it was 20-minute halves.
Probably 25% of that team was probably past their prime.
Yeah, right. Well, Ewing was smack dab in the middle. Well, I wouldn't say smack dab in the middle, but he was in his prime, definitely.
Definitely in his prime.
Malone was probably.
He was still in his prime. He was Malone. Yeah, Malone was, I mean, you think it was 90, the summer of 92.
92.
I mean, Ewing was drafted in 85, right? Malone was drafted in 86. Stockton was drafted in 84 with Jordan. Mullen was drafted the same year as Ewing. You know, so these are all guys that, you know, they've been in the league for 7 years.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. 7 years. Let's just say, you know, 7, 8 years at that point. Bird, obviously, Magic, longer. They were definitely past their time.
Right. Yeah. Right.
But outside of that, I mean, I agree. I think a lot of them were. I mean, Jordan, absolutely in his prime. He was peaking at that point.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
You know, so I think it was the thing is with the difference between that team and other teams when you watch it, Anthony Edwards, watch it, the ball movement, insane.
Oh
just, you know, like it was so smooth, and it wasn't forced. It was never forced.
Yeah.
And that was the most beautiful thing to watch. Now, granted, the international play is a lot better, but still, I still think it's the best team.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question about it. Go ahead, Rubber Shoes.
So everyone wants to throw out the the 92 team only played against 7 other NBA players, and there's like 60. The Team USA doesn't play against all 60 of them because some of them get eliminated before they play them, and you still have a team that has the whole team is NBA All-Stars. Some Hall of Famers, you know, you have the best team in the world by far. So the argument to me, yes, the games should be closer. I agree, and the international teams, I think, play a better team game, but you still have the best talent in the world.
Absolutely,
that they should win. They should win no matter what.
Totally agree.
Absolutely.
Well, I did not see that quote about Anthony Edwards, but I'm gonna, boycott his games from now on. Not that I watch that many Minnesota games, but all right. Last 5 minutes, you guys got to give me. Thank you, Scotty, for the reminder. I didn't need a reminder, but I'll take it anyways. I appreciate it. Tonight, Rubber Shoes is about to peace out on this, so let's see if he's he's good. He's good. All right.
That was your out, dude. That was your out. That was your out.
I was gonna say, unfortunately, I think I'm all set.
All right. Okay. Burgers and tots are not ready yet at the Firehouse. No, in all seriousness, though, I teased it at the beginning of the show. I think it's like an important night actually for, I'm obviously the biggest women's sports fan on the show. But I think it's a big night for women's basketball in New England. The Connecticut Sun are playing at the TD Garden tonight, sold out, 19,000 people. It's the Sun are an interesting team because they're a very small market team surrounded by 2 giant markets, Boston and New York. So they don't draw what those other 2 teams do. I mean, what the New York team draws, and certainly they have never drawn 19,000 people to an arena before. So it's going to be an electric night tonight at the Garden. It's really impressive that they sold out, I think. And I'm really looking forward to it. Scotty?
Are they playing against Caitlin Clark?
They are not playing against Caitlin Clark. They are playing
okay.
against.
All right. Now, all right. I give you some depth. Then I was gonna say if they are, then
I know. Fair point. Fair point. No, they are playing against the Sparks. The Sparks are one of the, at the time before she tore her ACL, they did have Cameron Brink, who was one of these,
Into
3 or 4
UConn,
players
right?
that came out. No, she went to Stanford. And she was
Oh,
one of these. She was like with Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark and her were basically the top 3 picks in the draft. I think Cardoso might have been maybe 3 or 4. I can't remember. But so she would have been playing in this game, but she tore her ACL earlier in the season, actually against the Sun. So listen, it's, whether you watch it or not, it's obviously up to you. It's an impressive feat, I think, for a team that's, been around in Connecticut for 20 years. They're the number 2 team in the WNBA right now. And they don't draw, they suffer a lot of time, back in the day. Um, some of the Boston teams wouldn't be able to draw in free agents like they wanted to, because people didn't want to come play in Boston. They wanted to play in Miami. They wanted to play in LA. The Sun suffer from that too. They're not able to get any free agent talent because nobody wants to come here. They don't want to live in Connecticut. They want to live in New York. They want to live in Los Angeles. Same thing. So they don't come here. So the fact that they're able to do it
every game in Mohegan Sun. Kidding me? I'd be there now.
Well, they don't get to gamble after the game, Scotty. They go home, and trust me, Eastern Connecticut is not some place you really want to hang out unless you're at the casino. So I think the other thing I was actually reading about this. So the Connecticut Sun are owned by the Mohegan Sun tribe. So they're not owned by any one individual. And so the tribe has to approve any improvements to their facilities, any improvements to their anything that they need to do to improve the team or provide more resources has to go through the tribe. And really it has to go through the lens of, is this good for the tribe? And the answer a lot of times is no. And that's the reason they haven't gotten like their own practice facility, which they need. And they still play at Mohegan Sun Arena, which is only about 10,000 seats versus the 19.
So when is someone from Boston going to buy them and move them up here?
Well, that's an interesting question. Then a lot of people are saying, well, they sold out the Garden. That's a use case, and now somebody's going to go look at them. But the tribe says that they're not interested in selling. Of course, money talks. So I'm sure that at some point, if they did get an offer, they might move to Boston. But
there must be a finite agreement here. I mean, it has to end at some point, right?
What do you mean with the tribe?
With the tribe, yeah, between the tribe and the team. I don't think they don't have contract for them.
Well, they own the team, so I mean, they're owned it for 21 years. So somebody would have to buy the team to move them to Boston, I would think, unless the tribe decided that that's what they wanted to do. But I don't know why they would do anything stupid like that. They bring in 7,000 people for 20 home games a year to the casino, some of whom I'm sure, like you, Scotty, would stay and gamble after the game. So it's interesting. It's women's sports.
Or would it make it into the game because they'd still be gambling?
or that too. Listen, I don't know if Scotty Rubber Shoes, you didn't go to one of our weekends away at Mohegan ever,
No,
did you?
I think the last one you guys had, I almost went to, but something came up that I couldn't make it. And yeah.
Okay. Because Scotty, you went to
fizzled from there.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I went to a bunch of them. Yeah.
Do you remember the one where we got comped tickets to go see the Sun play?
Was that the one I couldn't stand? There was one that I couldn't really. Chad gave me some medication to help with a headache, and it was not a very good medication. And I think Ryan and a few others were helping me kind of like walk around.
Okay.
That might have been that
one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was,
but I remember going
to Chad on that, by the way. That was not my fault.
You were hooked right from then, Adam?
I'm not sure about that. What's that?
You were hooked right from then?
No. That would be lying if I said that. No, the reason I brought it up is because we went to the game and there was like nobody there. I mean, like it was you could hear the players talking, and we were in the upper deck. So it was pretty pitiful at the time. The fact that they bring in an average of 7,500 people now is a testament to the team and the marketing of the team in Connecticut. But it'd be nice if they could sell out more games in Connecticut, and then maybe they could figure out a better arena. The Mohegan Sun Arena is, if you've ever been there, even for a concert, it's not that great. Be nice if they were able to build something a little bit better.
There's a reason why the Hartford Whalers aren't in Connecticut anymore.
Yep, I totally agree with you. Connecticut's not an easy place to be a professional sports team. So we shall see, but I'm very excited about it tonight. I will be watching it. I think I'm going to set up the movie screen out back, and we're going to watch it on the big screen. Just first of all, it'll give me good vibes from the Celtics 18th championship, and then also to enjoy the game. So if you have a chance, flip it on. I think it's on NBC Sports Boston. Definitely worth at least watching.
Oh, you might see my commercial again.
I'm super. That's the only reason I'm tuning in, Rubber Shoes.
I still need to see this gem.
I still have that picture that I sent you guys on my phone, and so like I'll scroll through my photos and I'll be like, "Oh shit, there's Rubber Shoes." Yeah, you got to see it. Watch the game tonight, Scotty. Watch the game tonight. Maybe you'll see it. I don't think there's much in the way of good sports on tonight, so this will be a good game.
Red Sox,
yeah, which is the Red Sox are on,
good.
which I'll keep an eye on my phone.
Yeah,
basically what happens here a lot of the time.
Yeah,
especially during football's coming upon us. So we watch. Amy and I watch shows together. Like Umbrella Academy just came out the latest season.
Okay.
So we're watching right now. So I'll have my phone to the side, and then I'll have my socks on, or even during like wintertime with Celtics or whatever.
Sure.
Because the Pats, nothing else. I'm down here. It's
no Umbrella Academy.
Well, there's only 17 games. There's a big difference.
Course.
You know what I mean? There's not 162. There's not 82. Whatever. But
yeah.
So I'll probably have the socks on my phone. But yeah. Sorry, Adam. I won't watch it.
It's
sorry.
okay.
The only thing that gets trumped over like Red Sox at this time or anything is Tyler. Tyler comes in and throws on Monday Night Raw. Like he'll just come in and grab the controller and start. Okay, I'm like, I was in the middle of watching a game. Like, what are you doing?
Time for you to move out, little shoes. Time for you to move out.
He puts football ahead of wrestling. So Monday Night Football, we get to keep on the TV. He doesn't come in and interrupt that. But when it's not football season.
Before we go, how has the shoes takeover of AAA work trucks? How is it rolling?
Good. So it's I think this is his, and it's going into his third week, and everything's good. He's doing a good job.
Excellent. Well, congratulations on the new gig and the new commuting partner. All right. Thanks for joining us. It's the ATB show, atbshow.com, for Rubber Shoes in the fire department and Scotty in the basement in beautiful Maine and me in Connecticut. Make sure you watch the game tonight. I'm talking about the Connecticut Sun game. I'm going to say it again. Watch the game. It's on NBC Sports Boston. Last thing I'll say about it. And Timmy will be back. I think the whole crew will be back next week, and we'll have all the bells and whistles. It'll be a lot of fun. So join us. Check us out at atbshow.com. Have a great night, everybody.
I got some good stuff for the predictions.